Joe Hopkins here, and the other week I took a nice second look at this guitar, my Firefly FF-ST, I think it's called, right? Nice and sparkly. And I thought, man, I really, really like this guitar, but I remembered I have almost the same guitar from Donner, right? It's the same HSS Strat type guitar. They're very similar styles. We should compare them, right? So I'm going to go over each of these guitars a little bit and then play it some. And then at the end, we'll look at the both of them and decide, hey, what's I'll tell you what my thoughts are in conclusion, which one I think is better. All right, so we'll start with the Firefly guitar. I'm pretty sure with this I got like a cable. You know how they send you those cheap cables. That was about it. You get the guitar. About 170 bucks is what I paid for this. I think they're still right around there, anywhere from there up to 200, depending on the one you get. By the way, I'm going to have links to both websites right down here in the description. You know, they sell these at guitarsgarden.com. Yeah, Guitars Garden. And the Donner, I think is donnerdeals.com. Either way, they'll be down there. So this was about 170. I love the paint job. I love the finish. I love the sparkle. It's just awesome, right? Some nice things about this. Ball end stainless steel frets. I like that. Locking tuners. I like that. The tremolo is better than most Strat tremolos. I'm not big on the Strat style tremolos, but this one actually is pretty smooth, works pretty good. And yeah, it might knock them out of tune a little bit, but not as bad as most other Strat style guitars do. But the neck is great. And the frets are great, and that makes for a great playing guitar. I like the way the pickups sound. The pickups sound pretty damn good. Kind of wish it had coil splitting, but it doesn't. But that's okay. I like having the... I usually use a humbucker anyway. I just put it in the bridge position and leave it there. I don't usually use the other pickups that much. Sometimes there's stuff I want that I wanted the sound of the other middle or neck pickup or whatever. Usually, for most things, I just like having it on the bridge. I think most of us are like that. The bridge pickup sounds nice and bright, right? Sometimes you want something, like when I'm recording more in the mix, and I'll bloop, and now it's a darker tone, or I want the solo to not be as piercing, so, you know. But generally, the Firefly is a pretty good guitar. Now, we'll play it some here. Yeah, that's it's on the bridge pickup. I'll move it through. Let me just move it down each position. Yeah, you get the idea. Now I'll play some lead stuff and just cycle back up from, yeah, I was going bloop, and now I'll go bloop back the other way. Yeah, you get the idea, right? I like the way the pickups sound. To be honest with you, this has one of the better neck pickups, in my opinion, of the ones I've played. Let's put a little bit heavier, and I'll go back through it. All right, so yeah, you more or less get the idea, right? Good guitar. I like it. Oh, by the way, yeah, the tremolo, right? It works pretty smooth. Yeah. It gets a lot of movement, right? A lot of the Strat tremolos can be hard to push, or they're tight, or they have spots where they stick. You know, this one works surprisingly smooth. So let me, there we go. Unplug that one and grab my Donner, right? I'm hoping it's still in tune here. I just tuned these up, but it's been so humid lately, it's been throwing everything out a little bit. So the Donner, this is about $200, right? So it's a little bit more money than the Firefly, but with that, it actually came with a bunch of stuff. It came with a gig bag that's more than just a dust cover. It's an actual usable gig bag, pretty decent one. Got some padding in it and all that. Came with a strap, not a real cheap one, a decent one. Came with a cable, the one I'm using. I'm using it because it's a good cable. It's like a premium cable. It came with, you know, the normal stuff, picks, extra strings, and it came with this micro amp, which doesn't look like much, but it surprised the hell out of me. I love this thing. It sounds actually really good, which is weird for an amp that comes with a guitar, right? I've gotten guitars before that come with stuff, and it's usually the gig bag's a dust cover. The strap isn't going to hold the guitar. The amp sounds like absolute dog shit. It's all worthless stuff. I don't know why they send it. Donner, it wasn't like that at all. It's all really good stuff. And that micro amp is really, really good. It sounds surprisingly good. It's not loud enough to like gig with or anything, but for just screwing around with, it's awesome. And it's rechargeable, you know, you don't have to plug it in. So you can just put it in the gig bag with your guitar and go, you know, somewhere, wherever you want to go with it. It's nice. I actually do really like that micro amp. I'd advise buying just that. They sell them from Donner. They're nice. But to come with the guitar is surprisingly good. The frets are surprisingly good, and they're not like the ball end frets like the Firefly, but they are pretty good. I'm not sure if they're stainless steel or what they are. I don't think they are, but they're good frets. The tuners are good tuners, not locking tuners like with the Firefly, but they're good tuners. The pickups sound pretty decent, and I like the classic paint job. They don't have the wild colors of Firefly, but I do like the classic sunburst, tobacco burst, or whatever it's called. This has a classic look to it that I dig, right? One nice thing, it's got coil splitting, which means you can make it 3 singles. The pickups, I don't think sound as good as the Firefly. The neck is really good, too. It plays well. I'm not going to give it away which one I like better, but anyway, you might be able to guess. So, sounds, right? Pretty decent, right? And then I'll do the same thing, play and go back through. All right, yeah. Oh, and the coil splitting. We're down here on the bridge. Not split. We'll go back to the humbucker. All right, same thing. We'll get a little bit heavier. Tell you what, I'll do what I did with that one. I'll just play stuff. there's an idea, right? Let me go back to all that, and we'll try the tremolo. There we go. All right, so let's just cut all that off, and we can talk about a comparison between the two. Oh, the Donner came with a tuner too. I got it around here somewhere. It's pretty good, actually. One of those clip-on, the ones that clip on the headstock. Just thought I'd mention that too. It came with a bunch of stuff. So, between these two guitars, and yeah, I just tried the tremolo. It's fairly smooth, right? But it does knock the guitar out of tune a bit, like a lot of tremolos do. Between the two, I gotta say, I think the Firefly is the better guitar. It plays better. It feels better. The tuning stability is a bit better, probably because of the locking tuners. The tremolo is smoother, way smoother. The neck feels better. The frets are better. The pickups sound better. Everything on this is better. But I do like the coil splitting on the Donner, and the Donner isn't that far behind the Firefly. I think the Firefly is a better guitar, but this is 9/10. It's close. It's a really good guitar. For $200, you can't go wrong with this. This is an excellent, excellent guitar. And with all that you get with it, I think it makes this the better deal for the money. And this is the better guitar for the money. Because they're not that far off in price. 170, 200. If there's still those prices, all right? Don't yell at me in the comments if the prices have changed. They might have. But they're not that far off price-wise, right? It's not that big a difference. I'd say if you want all the extra stuff, get the Donner. If you want really the better of the two guitars, get the Firefly. They're both excellent guitars. You can't go wrong with them. I've done full reviews on both of these, and in both instances, I gave them very positive reviews because they're both very impressive guitars, especially for what they cost. They're excellent, excellent instruments. If you want to see those reviews, you can check out my reviews playlist at the end here. But in the meantime, I'd say, yeah, if you want to get the better guitar, get the Firefly. And Firefly has better options for their look, too, like the finishes and paint jobs. It changes, though. You're not always going to get the same thing with Firefly. You go on there and they get new stuff in, they're going to look different, right? You're not necessarily going to get this one. You might get something else. Donner, they pretty much have the same thing in stock regularly, so if you want this, they'll have this. You can't go wrong with either of them. And it was nice with Donner to get a bunch of the extra stuff. And I use that stuff. I use the strap. I use the cable today. That's the cable I use most of the time. Because it's like one of the best instrument cables I have. And it came with the guitar. It was something they just sent with it. They give you really good stuff with this guitar. And it's still a really excellent guitar. So I would say if you want all the stuff, get this one. If you just want the guitar and you want it a little bit better, get this one. Kind of your own decision. If you need coil splitting, get this one. If you don't, I think these pickups sound a bit better. Not a ton better. I like the way this sounds. This doesn't just sound better than the other. They do sound different than each other. I think you can tell from, like, when I was playing them, they sound different. Each of them does. So you might prefer the way this sounds. I prefer the way this sounds. But for some applications, for some things I do, I think I'd prefer this a little bit more. But most of the time, I think I'd go with this one, with the Firefly. So there's my thoughts on it. Yeah, there's my thoughts on it. You pick the one. If you just go by looks, which one do you think looks better? You know what I mean? Which finish do you prefer? You'd be fine going with that, just because there isn't a lot of difference between the two. The one thing I do like on this way better is the locking tuners. Just to be honest with you, getting the locking tuners, that's a nice feature that it comes with now. That's pretty cool. And I haven't really messed with them. I haven't had to change the strings. You know what I mean? Those are still the original strings. So I can't tell you how the ease of use with these locking tuners. It just occurred to me, I don't know. But it's a cool feature, and it does help with tuning stability, it would seem, because the Firefly stays in tune a little bit better. So yeah, there we go. There's my thoughts on it. Yeah, tell me what you think in the comments below. Which do you prefer? Which do you think you would prefer? And yeah, subscribe to my channel. And like I said, at the end here, there's some playlists come up. My reviews playlist is where I review a lot of other guitars too, if you want to take a look at some others that I've taken a look at. And there's a playlist called I Didn't Get a Memory. That's my album. Really, man. I put it on YouTube so you guys can listen to it. It's also on streaming. Links are below. And I'll see you guys in the next video. I love y'all. Peace out, baby. Bye-bye.